us.
So it seems like we're recording, and for some reason I'm not hearing stuff. Sister Honorable Cheryl. Yes, Shahidi. Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Honorable Cheryl, it has been confirmed to me that you hear me, but for some reason I am not hearing you. So I'm going to put it in your hands. I'm going to make you the host.
Okay.
And so we can start. Okay. While I try to fix my technical problems.
Yes, ma'am.
I will also, oh, okay. So you go right ahead. I think it's going to be all on you.
The host on the host. Okay. I'm not sure, everyone, if Brother Fleming is online or not, or if he's joining us. I will check to see. In the meantime, I will let us get started. I know Brother William will be joining in a moment. I just sent him the link because he has it. So there he is. Speaking, he shall appear. I just spoke your name, so you're on mute. You're on mute, Brother Fleming.
See, we calling from Mauritania.
Yeah, you must have heard me speaking your name. You are right on time because we're just now starting. Sorry. You're right on time. So you want to bring us in before I start this? I'm starting the show right now.
All right then. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين.
He froze. There it is. Yeah.
Suraj Al-Dain and I'm Ta'alain. Amen.
How are you, brother? You aware?
Mauritania, West Africa, at the 600 Peace Conference. And we came last year, so they invited us to come back this year by the grace of Allah. So about 20 of us are here from our community, with about 70 different African leaders from around the continent and the Middle East. So inshallah, we'll make a difference.
Beautiful. 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 All right, Sister Amatullah was having some audio issues, so she's going to dial back in. All right. So, as we do in our traditional way, in our new way, in 2026, I have a question for you. So we check in. And so before we do our question, How many of you got to watch the Super Bowl yesterday? Throw your hands up. Throw your hands up. Well, since it's Black History Month, you can throw your fist up. I didn't care about the Super Bowl. It was kind of boring. I just watched the halftime show. My show. My show. Bad Bunny. Did you get to watch it? Brother Fleming, I know you were already on the other side of the world, but it was a world, it was a world event. So, did any of you get to watch it? Oh, we lost him. Boy, the internet is just dropping like hotcakes around here. I lost two more. Okay, let me see. There we go. Oh, we got Sister Ronnie back. Sister Amsala, is that you on as American Muslim 360? Did you join us? Did you get back on? Well, I would say it. So this morning, let's start with this. Let's start with, because it's Black History Month, and I call it Black History Month, but it's also American History Month, because if we go back to the origins of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson, one of my favorite quotes from him was, when he talks about Black history, well, he called it Negro History Week. He said, it's not so much a Negro History Week as it is a History Week. We should emphasize not Negro history, but the Negro in history. I've changed it when I put it up in my office. I say, it's not so much Black History Month as it is a History Month. You still can't hear? I'm not sure. I maybe try dialing in. Here, let me put it in to try. So this month, this Black History Month marks the 100th, February 2026 marks the 100th, the centennial commemoration of Black History Month. That's a century of the resilience and the demand of being seen and being heard and respected as not only Black people, but just as a ongoing fabric of this American society. Even as we are continuing to face this ongoing effort to erase not only the history, but the inclusion of the culture and the people that have built this country. So there is an ongoing effort to move past just simple recognition and talking about simple history and historical moments to restoring the narrative on our own terms, in our own words, in our own voices, through being very purposeful about the presentations and the commemorations that are reflective of our own power and our own strength and the culture of a people who were built from the fire. So when we pause during these months, it's even made more special that Ramadan is starting during these months. When we pause to reflect and to listen and to remember and reclaim and recommit ourselves to champion not only history, but support our families and our communities in this hard work of liberation, of justice, and of equity, and of healing, and of community development, and sustainable self-sufficiency. It begins with conversations like the one we're going to have today about what it means to be a self-sustainable community, with hard conversations about responsibility. We often talk about these things in vacuums, like voting rights and legislative acts. And over the last few weeks, many of us have seen family members and friends pass away. When we talked about this last month, or actually in December, this topic of insurance hit a chord with many people. So I've invited Brother William Muhammad back to continue that discussion. And Brother William, there was another aspect that came up in the last few days on a conversation that we had on, I believe it was Saturday, when we were talking about entrepreneurship. And so the concept of business insurance came up for small businesses, for starting a small business and covering yourself for that and ensuring that your personal wealth, whatever that is not going to be left open, or that you are not left liable in case something happens in your business life. So I wanted you to cover that today as you're speaking, because this is not just about when someone, dies. This is also about the insurance is not just for that. It's also to help you live, right? So I wanted you to make sure you cover that entire aspects of what we're talking about, the insurance for all of those things. So I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself to the audience, and then we're going to dive in. I'm going to let you talk to them for a few minutes, and then we're just going to go into Q&A and let people ask questions, because there was a lot of questions. All right?
It's good.
All right, let's get started, everyone. Welcome back to the show, Brother William. he's back here at your request. Brother William Muhammad.
All right.
Let's go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all, my aunties and uncles and my sisters and brothers, with the greeting words of peace and paradise. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. One, thank you so much, everyone, for this really humbling invitation that you would ask me to come back. I'm really, really humbled, especially now with all of the things that are going on in the world and in our community, right? As we're approaching our holy month of Ramadan in just a few days, there are several things that we need to focus on. One is our study of Quran, right? And our study of this deen, and not just the studying, but the putting back into practice the things that we may be a little rusty on, or some things that we need to improve. We want to improve ourselves really spiritually during this month. And it's come to my attention that there has been a lot of deaths over the last month or so. There's been several people who have returned to Allah, not just here in the Bay Area, but in our communities, both in Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with the community, and in the Nation of Islam, and in other communities that I share brotherhood with. One of the things that we can't continue to do is to pass the hat, or have a fish fry, or to have a T-shirt with rest in peace on it, or a GoFundMe to bury the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about being a good steward over your affairs. This is not even hadith. This is Quran. Allah says this, right? So we want to find ourselves obeying not just what we want to obey, we have to obey it all. We can't pick and choose the parts of Islam that we like and we don't like. We have to embrace it all, and whatever that means to you is what it means to you. We will talk about today. I will answer your questions about life insurance. There is a school of thought that says you should not, it could be haram. It can be, depending on what you do with it. If you do what you're supposed to do, then how could taking care of your family be haram? How could making sure that there's no burden placed upon anyone else when you are gone, how is that a haram? It's not. If you're using life insurance to get rich, which there are people that do that, I see it a lot. I see it all the time. They'll use it to hide from the tax man. They'll use it to hide, money from a spouse or a family member, or they'll put it into a trust that only one person can have access to, and because they don't want, a family member to, receive any benefit or anything. So I can see how it is. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about what the essence of it is, right? I want everybody to take a moment and close your eyes. And I want you to think about it being like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you get this phone call. And you know that you don't answer no phone after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but this phone won't stop ringing until you pick it up Because if anybody's calling you that time and they're calling back to back, you know that it's an emergency. You got to get up. So you're wiping the coals out of your eyes. You're trying to be coherent. And you pick up this phone and, yes, may I help you? May I speak to Brother William? This Brother William. Who is this? This is John from Sutter Health, Sutter Hospital. Oh, okay. What can I do for you? What's going on? Do you know? Uh, Wilhelmina? Yeah, yes. That's my sister. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry to call you at this time, but there's been an accident, and your sister didn't make it, and we need you to come down and identify the body. Immediately, your mind goes into a panic almost. Wait a minute. Hold on. You're trying to get yourself together. I can't believe this happened. You're not even in mourning yet. You're just moving. You're not even thinking straight. Who do I need to call? You look over at your wife. Babe, this is happening. And she's trying to help you, and you're getting yourself together because you have to get down to that hospital right away. You get there and they take you down this long hall and they take you to this room or they take you to this window and they pull this body out and they take this sheet up or they open up this bag and you look over and you see Sister Wilhelmina. I'm making up this name. Okay. So you look, yes, that was my sister. Her essence is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now, but this is her body. What do you do next? You have to first you got to find a place to come pick that body up. When you do, can you come and get Sister Wilhelmina? Yes, we can come get her. There's a charge for that. For them to come and pick up that body, there is a charge for that. For them to take that body from the hospital and put her into the back of that van, there is a charge for that. To get in that van, drive to the funeral home, there is a charge for that. When they get to that funeral home and they open up that door and they take Sister Wilhelmina from the van inside to put her on that gurney to start to get ready to prepare this body, there is a charge for that. Now we may come in and we may wash this body, we may prepare this body, we may wrap this body, we'll perform our obligations. But if there's no one there, there is a charge for that. And sometimes when we come in, there is a charge for it. To open a grave site, there's a charge for it. To close a grave site, there's a charge for it. There's a charge if there is a casket, even if you have to rent one. My question is, how do you pay for it? Because this is not something that you saved up for your family member. This is not something that the Bay Area is one of the most expensive places to live, not just in the United States, but in the world. It costs just as much or maybe even more in most places to live in the Bay Area than it does in New York City. And I know this because I'm from New York City. So I want us to really be practical. You're looking between a cheap janaza is between $3,000 and $5,000. They're averaging six to eight. They're averaging that. And I don't have that laying around right now at any given notice just to take care of something where I know I could have done a better, I could have been a better steward over my money. Oh, Brother William, I'd like to get some life insurance, but I got health issues. I know you have health issues because we're eating any and everything now, including me, right? When we were strict with how to eat to live, we didn't have a lot of health issues. But now, we're grabbing a bag of chips. We're eating all kinds of cakes and cookies. And one of the things that I said at our mosque yesterday, I asked the sister captain, I said, Sister Captain, why are all the sisters selling bean pies, cakes, and cookies? There's not a healthy, there's bean pies are good, but there's a lot of sugar in a bean pie, a lot, a whole lot. And we all know that it is. That's why we love it so much. It's sweet, right? So here we are, we're eating other than what we know, right? We're constantly feeding ourselves something. We have chips, we have this, we have that. We have to do a better job, but not just with our physical bodies. We got to do a better job with being a better stewards over our money. So what we want to do, and I hope that inshallah, you will do business with me. But even if you don't, you should still make sure that certain things are being taken into consideration, right? I want you to look at policies that are not, I want you to look at policies that you can afford. Everybody has these wonderful ideas. Oh, you can do $1 million and you can do this and that sounds good. And then they'll say, well, I want you to get this universal. What? Okay, I get all of this. Those are all good. All right, but that's not what you need. We need something to take care of the main business that is at hand when someone returns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want that. $10,000 to $15,000, you're good to go. There's no health exams. Um, there's no health questions. Do you know that if you smoke cigarettes and you answer yes that you smoke cigarettes on a life insurance policy, it will be 3 times higher? If you if you have been in prison in the last 3 years, you can't even get life insurance. You can't even get it. So we need to have real conversations with each other, right? Because there's one thing that every single person is going to go through is death. It is the inevitable. That is a part of the life cycle, right? So let's not leave our family with any kind of burdens. Let's really strive to do the right thing, at least get a quote, find out what this is actually going to cost you, and the way that you find out if you can actually afford it is ask yourself a question. If everything goes wrong in a month, and I mean everything goes wrong in a month, worst case scenario, what can I afford to pay and it not hurt me and my family? That's your question. And then you allow your insurance person to build something around that number or as close to that number as they can get. And if it's not realistic, okay, then let's see what is the best option for you and have at least 2 options. You don't need 50, you need 2 or 3 max. And you should, your insurance person should know what that is by the time that they finish having a conversation with you. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's that's my main little presentation about that. We'll talk about business insurance here shortly. And so right now, I'd like to open up for some questions. What questions do you have for me?
Let's start with this. And then we're gonna have the audience raise your hand if you have a question. Let's start with this. So you said that if you smoke cigarettes, life insurance is 2 times higher, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I see a lot of people, a lot of men, instead of cigarettes, they smoke these cigars. I don't like neither one of their smells, but they do. What's that? What's that
Same
factor?
thing. Cigarettes, cigars, vapes. They ask if you have done any kind of drugs, if you've done cocaine, if you've done heroin. These are questions that are literally on, because the insurance company is using a mortality table. How much more likely are you to die before you actually pay the premiums up to where it's equal to what you have put into it? That's how all life insurance works. No matter where you are, this is how it physically works. So that's what you want to stay away from. You want to stay away from those things, okay? And if you do those things, you want to make sure that you do your best to stop those things. Do your best, because one, it'll tell you on the side of the package, this will kill you and will cause you to have major diseases. So you're willingly killing yourself. Number one. Number two, you got to live at least 2 years for a life insurance to pay out the full amount, or it will only give you what you put into premium.
That was my next question, so I'm glad you answered that. To pay out the full premium. And then what about let's take it from outside of the cigarettes and cigars and drugs and vapes and all of that to something that doesn't seem like it's so-called illegal, to the things that people do that causes harm in a different way. All of these fad diets and Ozempic and these so-called herbal supplements. What about those?
Those are not really questioned a lot, but I would be very careful because you don't know how that's going to affect you long term. I don't have an issue with herbal supplements. Those things tend to be fairly good. Hold on one moment, okay? There's somebody walking in my.
Brother, let me clarify what I'm saying, the herbal supplements. I'm not talking about the regular herbal,
Right.
like the I'm talking about those, those ones, not necessarily marijuana, but the ones that are causing people to have like the kidney failures and the liver
Oh
failures
yeah, yeah.
and
You kind of want
all those
to,
ones that aren't FDA approved, and
right. You want to,
it's all those ones that you're finding online and that are it's
yeah.
part of those fad diets. It's
I would
those
be
those
very,
ones.
very, very careful about what we put into our bodies, right? Being a
Mhm.
good steward over yourself is not just talking about money. It's about what you put, into your environment and into your body, right? So, I'm not necessarily a fan of FDA because there's
Mhm.
pork that is FDA approved, right? So,
Sure.
I get it. However, I'm not going to take a mystery pill to fix
Mhm.
something that I don't, that something else that's not a mystery can do.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
there was a time where everybody was doing this. And when I came into Monson, New York, there was an older brother, and he always talked about, and it sounds kind of gross, but it was a warm coffee enema. And that's all he talked about was warm
Oh
coffee,
yeah.
and that was like the thing for a very long time until they found out this was causing some very serious issues, right?
Mhm.
The rule of thumb is if it's, I see you, brother Sharif, uh, your hand up. So the rule of thumb for me and what I would look at is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Correct. Okay. Brother Sharif, you're on mute. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, assalamu alaikum to everyone.
Alaikum
Alaikum
assalam.
salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah. Brother William, what year did you come into the community? Islam.
1990. I registered January the 6th, 1992.
Right. Okay. Very
And it
good.
is I was a teenager when I came in. I registered at Muhammad Mosque number 7 in Harlem, New York. Under at that time was Minister Conrad, and my captain was Captain Dennis Muhammad.
Right. Yes. Yes, I remember all of them. The law. Now, some of my questions are, I think you said if you've been incarcerated within the last 3 years, you can't get life insurance.
It's true. If you have pending, if you are getting ready to go to prison, you can't get life insurance. If someone is in prison, they can't get life insurance. And if somebody has been in prison in the last 3 years, they cannot get life insurance.
Okay.
So when they get to that question,
Mm-hmm.
your answer is not going to be yes. Your answer will be
No.
there it is. I'm not going to go and look for this.
Mhm.
I'm not going to go and look. But you got to, for a life insurance policy to pay out its full value, it has to be in force through the contestable period. The contestable period is 2 years. So after 2 years, it doesn't matter how you die, how a person dies, it's going to pay out. If it's
Mhm.
under that 2 years, you know, um, if it is a pre-existing condition that they find out, okay, this person had cancer when they got this, they went and got it, you know, they didn't disclose that they had cancer on it because we wouldn't have written this insurance, then hey, you were going to pay you what you paid into it, and that's it. Okay. But if it's 2 years and one day, doesn't matter how they die, it's going to pay out.
Okay. Now, have you been visited a prison lately?
Have I visited a prison lately?
Yes.
Yes, our local minister went into Solano. Is that the name of it? Solano, where we went,
Mm-hmm.
and he gave a talk there. But I've never been locked up like that. I mean, I've been to jail a couple of times for fighting.
Right. Yeah. So
Right.
I guess my question to that is, do you know how many of our grown children, males and females, and our grandchildren that's in prison, do they know a lot of them have no idea that they're not going to be able to get insurance? Most of them not going to be able to get insurance at all.
It's really true. You
That's a
know, that's a scary thought. So when we get one, let's do the things that keep us from going in there.
right.
And if we are better examples of Islam, and we're showing them a way that's going to keep them from that lifestyle. I have a son. He's 20 years old. Alhamdulillah, he's a good Muslim. His brother, however, he decided he wanted to do something different. Now, we don't have stepchildren in Islam, but I only have so much control. He decided he wanted to do something different. So he's getting the things that the world has to offer him in the way of death and destruction. So, one, let's not be, it's a joke called the Philly Muslim, where we have the we have the thicker beads, we have the beard, we have the everybody except for me is a kuffar, and but you're selling drugs. You're not a Muslim. You're just not. When you're on you have a corner store and you're selling things that are haram, you're not a Muslim. You're selling pig feet and pickled pig knuckles and liquor and all of this other stuff. You're just not you're not living a life. So when a punishment comes, we forget about that part, right? So let's try to keep our children from that. And then when they do revert to Islam, let's say they revert to Islam inside. They may have another year left, 2 years left, 3 years left. As soon as they get out, you need to bring them to come see me or somebody else that has been through some things in life or that has a certain knowledge set or skill set. We can't just teach them that you need a beard and you wear a jalabia and you make salah 5 times a day. And then you got to teach them a lot more than that, right? And if you don't have that information, you don't know it, bring them to there's somebody in our community that does know. And that's what pooling your resources really is. It's not just about money. Getting 4 brothers together or 5 sisters together to open up a supermarket. That's a part of it, but that's not all of it. Pooling your resources is the things that Sister Cheryl does. She knows that Brother William knows this. So she don't bring me in on other things. She brings me in on this conversation, right? Because that's pooling of our resources, brother. So that's what I want you to think about when our young brothers and sisters who are coming out. There's nothing you can do for them on the inside except for put some money on their books and send them some reading material and try to give them some encouragement, right? But when they come out, and inshallah, they will all come home, you know, when they come out, the first stop is not for them to go and man, let's stop and let's talk about getting your business in order. You got to stay on the straight and narrow specifically for the first 2 years. Don't do nothing. Don't act a fool. Don't act, don't get into it with your wife. Don't do that. Don't, none of that stuff. Focus. Focus on being what it is that you say that you are so that you don't go back. Number one, help them to learn what some discipline is, help them to have some discipline, and then we go from there. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, Brother William. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Brother William. Yes, go ahead, brother. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. My name is Abdul Hakim Ali, and I'm a part of the American Coalition for Good Government here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
And I seem to always have to, I'm an older member in the community. I guess you could consider I'm being a pioneer. And I'm listening to some things that maybe I could offer some kind of, I can't say advice, but it's just a different way in which we have established ourselves under the leadership of Imam Warifdeen Muhammad.
Yes.
Traditionally, I have to give you a little bit about the history of why we are the way we are. And that is, Master Fard Muhammad gave a message to Master Elijah Muhammad, that Master Elijah Muhammad fulfilled in getting us away from the authority of white people. I don't know, some other of the brothers has been in the community for a long while. They might be able to attest to this too. And what do I mean by that is that we need to have our own, because Master Elijah Muhammad told us to know ourselves is to know God. And he also said other things like he's going to dress us up. And he also said that we had to do for ourselves. That's the main part that I'm trying to come through now. Now, if we've gone through a tradition in a period of time whereby enough of us as believers followed behind the teachings from Fard Muhammad to Master Elijah Muhammad, then certain things we should be building upon now to be able to have what is now given to us with the freedoms that Imam Warifdeen Muhammad gave us by teaching us the religion itself. Now, why I'm saying all that is because I'm making a comment more so than asking a question. Here in Atlanta, after we moved here, because he asked us back then to move here to help this school here finish up what it was doing because it was only at the 8th grade. Okay, make a long story short, we all moved down here from various parts of the country, and we have established our way here. Now, when we're talking about insurance and things like that, the way you're doing now, is because most of the people who are now in the community have gone on and progressed inside of the world that the European is basically in charge of. And now you want to do business, or you want to try and do the things to support your family and stuff like that, the way it's outlined for you to do it. But in Islam, because we had to get out of the controls of the European man, we had to learn how to do things for ourselves. And what we have established here in Atlanta is we've got our own, what you would call a graveyard. And the believers who are part of the community here, no matter what you die from and all the rest of that, if you're a member and we understand how you can become a member, because we still have the problem of a lot of family members bury Muslims without the Muslims having the right kind of understanding with their religious institution, and they take the body and they go ahead and bury it. So I guess having a policy and those kinds of things. But in our case, no matter what, if you had a policy or not, we come together and bury you. And we got brothers that do the burying. We have a place to put you in the ground. You see, and we're asking the believers to try and get involved with that now, the same way you're talking about having a policy. So take myself, for example. I called my oldest son, which is 56, he's 56 years old. And I said, bro, he tried to get me to have a policy. And I said, bro, if we're going to have a policy, it should be our policy. A group of Muslims, and we got enough Muslims who have the kind of money to be able to have their underwriting policies. But until they do, this is what we do. And we have went over to the graveyard and they got a little house on it now. And in case you want to have a little service and stuff before you put them in the ground, you don't have to take them to the masjid, because that's not right either. Really, we're supposed to, the masjid is for the living, not for the dead. The musalla I'm talking. Uh, Imam Muhammad himself was given his burial, his janazah was in the in a garden of a masjid. But my point of it is this: we have the ability to be able to help one another the way it's been told to us traditionally, and we need to build upon that. So all you brothers now who want to have policies, and you say you're from New York, with all the Muslims there in New York, some kind of way you're being directed to go to another direction to be able to support and build your community in New York. Because we having the same problem up here in Philadelphia, which I'm originally from. You see, but we're getting more and more in tune of being able to help one another without the authority of the European, and that's my whole point. You see, so the American Coalition for Good Government is what Imam Muhammad gave us before he expired. And that seems to be a committee that's having a struggle trying to get us back on the course, because we're not traditionally history. Our history is not traditionally expounded. And then here we got the Black History Month coming up here in February. And I'm interested in knowing if we're going to do anything about that, because that's how we're burying our leaders. We're not really celebrating in the right perspective of what we can do for
I
ourselves
agree.
and give the respect to the leaders who basically gave us that. That's all I'm saying, bro. That's why I say I don't think it's advice. It's more or
You're
less
not wrong.
something we did,
Well,
something
yes,
that
sir,
we're
brother.
doing, something we're doing now. That's all, brother.
Yes,
You
sir.
know,
You're
and,
not
and- and-
wrong. You're not wrong at all, brother. In fact, the last conversation we had, we did dive into that. What we're seeing is that although we've had these wonderful teachers, and we have had these wonderful teachers, sometimes we've become so splintered that we can't see the main goal. And now that we see the main goal, we're like, okay, how do we get back to the unity that we really need to make those things happen? And that's something, I think that's the $1 million question right now. How do we get back to unifying all of our communities under the leadership that we need to have?
Yeah, I
yeah,
think Sister Amatullah, you came off of mute. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to remind people that when you have a comment or a question, to be considerate of other people who may have comments or questions, and try and limit yourself to maybe 2 minutes at the most. But moving on, like Brother William said, we did talk about alternatives. There are I think it's out of the Detroit area. There was a group that formed an insurance company called ISLA, I believe, that is supposed to be Sharia compliant in terms of insurance. And then also in the Bay Area, in the Southern Bay Area, there is also a group of brothers that have come together, and they offer the, I don't know where that other sound is coming from. They also offer the janaza coverage, in terms of the expenses, because in those areas where we don't have our own property, there is an area in Union Springs, Alabama, where a pioneer sister put up her land, and they built a cemetery on that property. So you have different areas of the country where you have different levels of experience of expenses, and the first obligation of burying the person is on the family. And if the family is not able to handle that expense, then the community has to pick up that responsibility. So I think the purpose of this program is to encourage each of us for the families to equip themselves to deal with the janaza expenses. And of course, our hope is that in each area that believers are moving towards being independent, as the brother was saying. However, if we're not at that stage yet in that particular area, then we need to inform people of alternatives that exist. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Amatullah. And I wanted you to weigh in on something too that I'm going to say. I think that we focus a lot on just the janaza. And I want to bring up that it's not just the janaza. Because if it was only the janaza, I agree with you. But there are a lot of other expenses that happen
Absolutely.
to families. That's when, especially when it's the main person who's bringing in the uh, the income to
The
the
income.
house. And what I've seen, brother, so I'm not disputing that part, but what I see is when that main uh, income provider has passed away, the community can't continue to supplement that because there's a failure to recognize that we have a responsibility,
Okay.
especially when you have a family. So all idealism aside, there's a realism that's attached. There's a
Right.
realism that's attached, especially when you have, if that main breadwinner, especially, and I live in California. I don't live in those other places. I don't live in Georgia. I don't live in Alabama. I don't live in New York. I live in California. And if our income is $500,000, $600,000, it's hard to replace. If it's $100,000, $200,000, it's hard to replace. And to ask the community to step in and pay for that, we're talking homes that are $500,000, $600,000. And to ask the community to replace that when you have 4 or 5 children, 2, 3 children who have to eat, who have to go to school, who need clothes. This irresponsible of me. Irresponsible of me to expect the community to do that because I can't see past having to pay for the insurance that I, as an adult, made that decision. Now, I'm not looking at idealism, and I get it because this is the same type of frame of mind that was leading people to say not to vote or we don't do that. I don't do this. And I get it, and it's different frameworks, and people think differently, and they're free to have different opinions than me. But my opinion, my thought process, and the way I read our responsibility as Muslims may be different than someone else because my responsibility is I'm going to make sure not only my children are taken care of, my family is taken care of. I'm going to meet my responsibilities to give sadaqah. So, because my sadaqah is going to make sure that if something does happen in the community, it should be going to those people who are not able to do that. but I know how much it costs for insurance. Is and that was going to be my next question to you, Brother William, when you made a comment about sit down with your insurance person to see how much you can afford and what you can take out. The insurance is not running me, especially life insurance is not running me hundreds of dollars a month.
It's
It's
fairly cheap.
running it's in some instances it's running, less than $25 a month.
Mm,
So I'm not going, that's like one of the things I don't touch. I don't touch it because I'm not going to leave that burden on my children. I'm not leaving that burden on my community. There's something that I hold very, it's one of those responsibilities that I hold as my responsibility. It's my housing security, the stability of my family. If something happens to me, I hold that extremely important to me. Now, what other people do, this not on my radar.
So, Sister Cheryl, my answer to what you're saying is that insurance is a small part of
Yes,
a person's financial responsibility.
yes.
yes,
And so there are some people who rely on insurance, like when Brother Williams said, people go on after the $1 million policies of all of that. Those are people who are perhaps going after doing what you're saying. But
yes,
I think the balance of a potential alternative approach is for people to just look at insurance as a small piece of the pie. It's not the whole thing
Right.
in terms of your
yes,
financial
Uh-huh.
responsibility. And if you take, um, say, if you say, okay, I'm gonna go after that $1 million policy, and if maybe it costs $200 a month for the premium, probably doesn't, probably maybe more. Brother William be to better qualified to answer that. A way to try and build that kind of financial stability that you're talking about for the survivors, that's a whole different situation. The survivors of the deceased, they can take that $200 that they would be giving to an insurance policy that may not be Sharia compliant in some kind of instrument, whether it's real estate or um, investment in the markets or investment in their own business as an entrepreneur, and look at those things that would continue to provide the income. And the people who are surviving, they're also, if they're in a financial crunch, able to come, they should be able to come to their community to seek financial support. It may not be on a long term, but at least temporarily to enable them to plan out, okay, well, what is our next move? What are the moves that we have to make? And I think we need to not be so reliant on, I'm going to get this life insurance policy and it's going to, um, satisfy me for the rest of my life for my survivors. It's a matter of mindset, people financially planning for themselves and for the future. That's all.
Right.
sure, sure.
Right. I'd like to jump in real quick if it's okay. So everybody on here has car insurance. If you don't, it's illegal. If you own a home, you have to. It's not a maybe. You have to have homeowners insurance. It's not for um it's not to really make money. It's for, God forbid, something happen
Yeah,
and it outweighs your ability to pay for a particular thing.
sure.
So on the other side of that scenario that I gave earlier is once all of the cards are done and you've read all the cards and you've responded back to them, and after all of the casseroles have been brought to your home and that phone gets quiet, and men, we are taught that we are the maintainers, providers, and protectors of our women. Let's say our wife is a homemaker. Yes, that fund to bury the brothers and the sisters That's a really good fund, and you should have that. But who's going to make sure that that sister who has been a homemaker for 20 years, hasn't been a part of the workforce, maybe didn't even go to college at all, has 2 children, 3 children, who's going to make sure that there's food on that table, the mortgage is paid, the rent is paid, and that system, there's a reason for it, right? So I'm not going to say that it's good or bad. I'm just saying that this is a way to do it. Now, if you decide, okay, I want to take that money and invest, well, invest in what? Because there's a lot in the stock market that is haram, a whole lot, right? There's other things that we may be doing that are not in accordance with what we're supposed to do. So we use the best of intelligence. The main thing is get something to protect you and your family. That's the bottom line. It's not the community's responsibility to pay. A cheap house in the Bay Area is $680,000 house, and that is a crack house here. It's a crack house. The mortgage on a place that big is at least 3,500. That's not including property taxes and homeowners insurance, which runs 10 grand a year on an average. And that's if you can get homeowners insurance, should you buy it. Because we have, like you in other areas, you have a winter season and you have a rainy season and you have a summer season. Well, in California, we have something that's called a fire season where entire towns are leveled. You got to have something that's going to protect you. And that kind of goes into the other subject of business insurance, right? Because all of these businesses, if there's a fire in your business, how do you replace the things that you've already purchased to sell in your business or to provide as a business? How do you protect yourself if somebody slips and falls in your establishment? If you have more than 2 employees and one of them is not related to you, then you have to have workers' compensation. It's a law, right? That's an insurance, right? So there's lots of different ways that we can go round and round and round about insurance. It's just a fact of life in the United States. We say respect the laws of the land. Take Islam and apply it to our situation. We are not the desert Arab. We're Black folks living in North America. And we have to understand where we are and what the needs are of our people. I agree with the brother for the most part. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad did give us a plan. He said that I did not come to teach you Islam, I came to clean you up. The one after me will teach you Islam. And I think Imam Warthuddin Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, has done a wonderful job of that. And I believe the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is doing a wonderful job of those things, specifically in teaching us to be responsible men and women and enjoying and enjoining onto each other what is right and what is wrong. Principle is this: get something to protect yourself, get something to protect your livelihood, get something to protect your family, whatever that tool that you decide to use. I'm telling you, this is how insurance works. So if you want to use it, use that outline, that framework, you should get you some people together and you can insure your own selves. But you got to get people there together and they have to be able to be trustworthy. Everybody's got to be able to see what's going on with that money. The last thing we want is somebody, look good on the outside, but then you look up and the money's gone. And we've seen that happen before, haven't we? Okay. Next question. I hope I'm not offending anyone. That's not my intention. I just want to be direct.
Oh, I'm over here talking and I'm on mute. I'm over here talking on mute. So, um, let's take caller last 4 digits 7888. You are up next, and then Brother Muhammad Sharif. So caller last digit 7888. You are on the air.
Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum. I pray Allah that we stop, Alhamdulillah, that we stop using Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I've been talking to somebody that we should give any kind of reverence to him. Not what he did, not what he's doing representing Islam. Assalamu alaikum.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
Sure.
We had a hard time hearing you, brother. Can you repeat what you were saying?
He went back on mute, Brother William.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Brother Sharif.
Oh, yes, Brother William, you are very polite. You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. I was in insurance. I was in insurance business for 2 years with New York Life
Okay.
back in 1970.
Yes,
And the
sir.
problem we have right now is the same problem that we were having 50 years ago, telling people why they should have life insurance for protection, to protect their family in case they should pass.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the same problem right now. We got people, like I say, you're being polite, brother. Let the people know that you should have life insurance to protect your family in case you should pass.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You really should, a lot of you all were prior to 75, and you had captains and you had lieutenants and you had ministers and all these things, and very disciplined, but you all did something that had never been done before, and we've been trying to duplicate it, but it's been a hard go for us in the nation because we've had to rebuild a bunch of things over and over again. Somebody had to organize the purchasing of 2 million pounds of whiting fish. Somebody had to organize that. Somebody had to enter into international trade and commerce. Somebody had to have construction skills. Somebody had to have all of these things. But and at that time, it seemed like Muslims never died. There was only one brother that went around to all of the temples to bury everybody, to perform this janazah, because it was very rare for somebody. But I was thinking about, well, why was it only one? It was because most of the believers were fairly young men and women. Older people are for counsel, young people are for war. And war doesn't mean I'm going to go physically fight somebody, beat somebody up, although we're not, we're taught to never be the aggressor by word or action. But in the case we are aggressive, we're going to stand and we're going to fight, right? We don't believe in turn the other cheek religion. But we were also taught to do for ourselves, just like the brother said. And do for self doesn't just mean go into business with each other or go into business for myself. Sometimes doing for self means taking a bath. Sometimes doing for self means cut your hair. Sometimes doing for self means wash your clothes. Those are doing for self too. Doing for self also means take care of your family. I got a wife. I don't want more than one wife. Allah says one is best if you but knew, right? And even if I did want more than one wife, I got to be able to afford it. The onus is not on everyone else. The onus is on you. Whoever the you is, you are to take care of your family, not everybody else. We don't want to be a charity case, although we are charitable people. But charity, when does charity stop being charity and it becomes, what's the word I'm looking for? An implied, implied responsibility. How long do you take care of someone else's family after they have passed away? How long is that time frame? Where does that money come from? in certain cities, maybe not in the smaller cities, but in a lot of the cities, there are a bunch of believers who are one paycheck away from being homeless. Where does that money come from? We got to get out of this spookism, and thinking some big hands gonna come out the sky and help everything, man. Allah gives us all free will. He gives us all a brain to think. He gives us hands and a mouth and all of these things, and it says, hey, go and do what I'm telling you to do. There's no mystery gonna come out the sky and fix this. We gonna have to do it. So you're right, brother Muhammad Sharif. I am being polite because one, I'm speaking to my elders and my aunties and my uncles, and I love and respect you all as that. Because without you all, I'm standing on your shoulders. I owe you. I owe you, right? Because I would not be able to wear the name Muhammad. Yeah, it took me a long time to earn it. I didn't just get it because I showed up one day. I had to earn it the hard way, right? But I wouldn't have been able to do that had you all not stood up with that Muhammad Speaks, had you not done the things that you all have done, under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the leadership of Imam Warthuddin Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with them. So thank you, Brother Muhammad Sharif. I appreciate your comment. But 727
You're
is,
welcome, Brother William.
yes, sir. Brother, the person with 7888, can you come off of mute so we can hear your comment or question? Did he go? Okay. Well, when he comes back.
Sure. Yeah, I think he dropped. Looks like he
Okay.
dropped.
It's all right. Hopefully, inshallah, he'll come back on. All right.
Inshallah.
So I don't shy away from the hard questions and the hard conversations.
Sure.
And that's one thing that makes this such a profound thing, is because we have so much talent. We have so many brilliant ideas, and we all want our ideas to be heard and to be seen, and we want them to be shared and worked. But we got to get those who are like-minded, right, to make those ideas become a reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sister Amatullah, I'll invite her
Yes.
back into the conversation. There she is.
Okay.
I was inviting you back into the conversation. And then you were
Um, yeah, my apologies. I don't know why I've been having the technical problems today, but
on.
and I hope you can hear this
We
outside
can.
drilling that's going on behind me. But
We don't. We don't hear it.
oh, good. Um, I'd like to get Brother Williams' take on aside from the mandated homeowner insurance, because I know, like in California, you can get something called California Fair Plan, and there might be specific requirements for that. That is a state kind of fund for homeowners insurance. I have a question for those believers who might live in places like Florida, and there was another state where insurance companies are withdrawing from insuring properties in those states. So, what are the kind of alternatives that exist for people who live in those states to cover, like hurricane, fire, earthquake, or whatever other kind of um, damages to their
Right.
property, so that they're, 1 minute you're in a home, the next minute you're out of a home, but you still got a mortgage to pay and property tax and all of that. What are there other um, types of policies or state support that they can get in those incidents?
Sure. There is. In California, we do have something that's called the California Fair Plan, which will cover a certain portion of the physical structure, but not necessarily your personal items. It's not quite enough to cover a home properly. And in fact, that is not really set up to insure the majority of the houses in the state of California. It wasn't set up that way. And it's almost insolvent, which means it's almost out of money and bankrupt. There are, however, certain insurance companies, the big players like State Farm, Farmers, Geico, they have pulled out of major markets. In fact, Geico, you can't go to a physical Geico place in California because they're gone. Farmers is talking about leaving California altogether. They're shutting down. I think they shut down like 70 something offices. And the State Farm is not leaving because they're the largest in the state. However, they are gradually getting back to fire policies, which is what a homeowner's policy is, or business insurance, and all of those things. But what you'll have to do is go to a boutique insurer, which you will find that through a insurance broker and not necessarily directly to a State Farm or a Farmers or one of the big names. So the broker will search through and find who does that kind of insurance in your area. I know in California you should have earthquake insurance, but there's several parts of California that are not in a flood zone. They don't have water. It's desert or it's dry, so they don't have to have flood insurance. But in places like Florida, you should have flood insurance. You should have hurricane insurance. And those are things that can either be provided somewhat by a state, but specifically, I would really look at a broker to have them to look at all the options that are out there for you specifically. And if you'd like for me to take a look at it or help you with those things, I can certainly point you in the right direction or review what you have. And there's no cost for that. I'm happy to do it. It just takes me a few moments to go through it to find if there's any places that you're lacking coverage or that you don't have the proper type of coverage. Sometimes we want to save money, but we cut out the most important parts that save us the least amount of money, right? So there are some things that you can cut back in on a homeowner's insurance policy that will still protect you properly, but save you some money. There's ways to manipulate your deductible to make things cheaper for you. Um, and then you need to learn how all of these other insurances work together because they do. The Let's say there is an earthquake, right? And that earthquake causes a tree to fall on your property, and there's no fire; it just falls on your property. Well, the homeowner's insurance is going to take care of some of it, and you'll pay a deductible for that. And then the damage that's physically caused from the shaking of the earthquake will be picked up by the earthquake insurance. However, the way that the deductibles work is on a earthquake policy, it works kind of backwards. Let's say you're covered for 100,000 and your deductible is 10,000. You're not going to write a check for 10,000. They're just going to give you 90,000. So it works kind of backwards. You don't pay your deductible first. It will be just taken out of the proceeds of that. And that will come to you to help remove the tree and the other things that are caused by that. And your homeowner's insurance will fix the physical structure of your house, the other things that were caused not by the tree falling, but the damage that happened after the tree fell. Does that make sense?
Yes. I have a question also about, sometimes you see advertise these different kind of warranty kind of insurances, like for appliance repair or
Right.
your HVAC system or what something I've encountered recently was your homeowner insurance won't cover your roof if you need a new roof. Um, Although you may have been paying your homeowner insurance for the last 30 years. So,
Right.
what type of insurance should you get for those major kind of repairs that you will encounter as a homeowner?
Well, they have a thing that's called a home warranty that will help with a lot of that, but you need to read the fine print because some of those home warranties won't cover that roof either. Now, a warranty and insurance are two different things, right? And insurance, um, I'm gonna try to make it as plain as I can. A warranty is like what you would have when you buy a TV. Hey, if this breaks in the first 5 years or 2 years, we'll replace it or we'll come out and fix it. That's not necessarily insurance, right? Insurance is covering your day-to-day operations of your home, if or your vehicle or whatever it is. And then when there's a trauma that happens, a tort, something physically happens to one of these places, then your insurance will pick up. Your insurance can cover the cost of a new roof. However, it depends on how the roof was damaged. So insurance won't cover wear and tear, right? If you have a 20-year roof and that roofer says, okay, look, this is a 20-year roof. If anything happens between now and 15 years or 20 years, we'll come out and fix it for free. You need to put that paperwork up somewhere so you can go back to that company and say, hey, I have a roof leak. This needs to be repaired, right? Or you didn't use the right kind of shingles, or you didn't use the right kind of thing for this property, and they'll have to come back out and fix it. Where your insurance company will come into play is if there's like a major storm or something hits your roof and it causes this damage, then they can come in and they'll have somebody do an inspection. And the inspection will say, hey, this is wear and tear. This is normal wear for a roof, or because of this storm that we had, we don't normally get rain in this area. Once that happens, then we will, then the insurance company will come in and pay for it. So American Home Warranty is a good one. I've seen them in action before. I've seen them work in real time. So that may be a good one for you. And I'll look up some other ones, that are reputable instead of a home warranty place that is not. And some of them are designed to take your money, and they take your money and you don't see them anymore. So you definitely want to, and it's not Better Business Bureau anymore, man. Nobody really reports to them anymore. It's a thing of the past. You want to get on their Google reviews. You want to get on their, you know, you want to you want to do a deep dive on the company before you just spend your money.
On that same lines,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure, Sister Amsel, if you guys received this too, but recently, about a week ago, we received these letters from our local municipal utilities district, East Bay Mud, saying that our underground pipes are not covered by uh, that they're the responsibility of the homeowner.
Right.
And included in there was a letter and an envelope for an independent insurance company that you may want to consider getting insurance from them to cover those pipes. You want to talk about that? Very similar to the
Well,
roof,
we
but
can talk about
but
that. So that is a sales tactic that they may use to sell. Thank you. To use to sell, whatever insurance products that they have. So there's called a lateral sewer lines. It's usually what they're talking about. You can get that type of coverage in your homeowner's insurance, but you need to make sure that it's in there, because if it's not, then you are on the hook for this $25,000 or $30,000, and they'll attach a lien to your property, and you'll just start to make payment on it, right? If they need to come in and connect it somehow. Uh, Other pipes that you have running through your house, the pipes, if they're just old and you haven't done anything to update them, That's what we call maintenance, right? Because when you own a home, you can't call a landlord. You are the landlord. So you got to fix these things yourself, right? So
Right.
your insurance is not necessarily for that. Your insurance is for if this house were to catch on fire, God forbid, or somebody is driving and they may be drunk driving, or it may be some kind of mechanical failure and a car runs into your house, or somebody breaks into your house and comes in and destroys it. They tear it up, punch holes all in the wall, do all kinds of stuff. That's where your homeowner's insurance kicks in, right? But for the regular maintenance of a home, you are responsible for those things. Even a home warranty is not going to fix all of those things. Home warranty generally will deal with appliances, uh, and things that make your home comfortable. You can have a house without a heating system and a air conditioning system. You can. It's not as comfortable as you may want it to be, but you can have it, right? But those home warranties are to help fix those things, you know.
Right. Because, like, for instance, I know this just from experience, like
Yes.
the hot water tank,
Heater. Right.
and yeah, I mean, I'm the president of a water board, so I know about sewer laterals more
Right.
than most people, and but the
Right.
sewer laterals, just so people know, the sewer laterals is different from your inside plumbing,
Oh yeah.
and the sewer laterals under your house is different. Once it hits that sidewalk and
The
goes out to the
sidewalk.
street, the sidewalk is yours. From the sidewalk to your house is yours. Once it hits that street, then it becomes city property. But anything under that house, from that sidewalk where your mailbox is, underneath that, that's yours. That
It's
12,000,
yours.
30,000, you're eating that. Even that little bitty inch, that's yours. You're
It's
eating it.
yours.
So that's why I was asking about, the insurance. It can get quite costly. Most of
Mhm.
your most of your sewer systems, your water systems, your municipal, I can't say these, your municipal
It's a
utility
tough.
districts,
Hmm.
your water systems, usually they'll have something if you're replacing your lateral, whether you're selling your house, you're buying a house, or you're just doing that maintenance, like if your water pressure is low, or you're finding you have backed up toilets often, or you have your sinks are backed up often, that usually has something to do with that there's the clogging is there. It's
Right.
just not clogged enough to have the water come up. You can talk to them and they will usually have some kind of incentive to have you check those laterals, put that camera down there and scope it.
Oh yeah.
But that insurance is now, I don't know about using the insurance that they send me.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you about. I mean,
Right.
them sending me insurance and saying, hey, use this company. It's like the opposing counsel giving me an
Right.
insurance, a counsel
A
recommendation.
council recommendation. Right. And I
Sister
always feel
Amatullah,
funny
she
about
came
that.
off of mute, so maybe she wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's tie all of this into, Cheryl, you brought up utility districts and all of that. Let's tie that into civic and political engagement as far as these different boards and when they have these different meetings, and um, I can give a Bay Area example when they had that horrific fire down in
Paradise.
no, with PG&E where they didn't do the maintenance on the wires and what all that horrific fire.
San Bruno?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was down in San Bruno, yeah, down in that area. And then to recover the money that they had to expend to do their undergrounding and all of that, utility prices went up for electricity. And so, in between the fire and they having to pay out billions of dollars, I think, there were utility commission meetings that happened. What, on the looking from the civic and the political angle, it seems to me that we as property owners and yeah, property owners have to be more active in voicing our opinions at those kinds of commission meetings. And also, if these are elected positions, really have a sense of what are the qualifications of the people that we elect to these commission and board positions. Just putting it out there that that's also a part of civic engagement in terms of
Yes, ma'am.
letting those people who are in those positions know what our feelings and our interests are as far as the decisions that they make.
Especially the insurance commissioner.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
all of our local water boards, but especially that insurance commissioner.
Yes. We're not big fans of Ricardo Lara.
Right.
Not yeah, or any of
That's
the
his
ones
name.
running.
His name
Yes,
is
that's the
Ricardo
name.
Lara.
In
And no,
California, you guys. Those who are not
yeah,
in
Right.
California, that's what we're talking
don't worry
about.
about it. But it's important that you pay attention to your insurance commissioners because that is, insurance companies don't just arbitrarily make up what premiums are going to be. Anytime that there's a raise or a lowering of premiums for a particular company, be it State Farm, Farmers, Geico, they have to submit a request and not just a request, they got to show the reason why they need the increase or why they need the decrease. And it will go through a very, very lengthy process to get that increase or decrease. I know State Farm because I work here, but State Farm put in for a decrease a year and a half ago, and it's just now getting approved. And because there hasn't been a general rate increase in almost 20 years under this guy, when they finally do get rate increases or decreases, they're drastic. So I don't know those who may live in California, you may have noticed that your car insurance or your homeowner's insurance went up almost double for some places, right? That's because instead of it going up 2% here and 3% here and coming down 1% and going up to match the industry that we're in, to match what consumers are doing, they're waiting till they get all of this stuff because it's an election year. I don't want anything to happen while I'm, up for election, or I'm just, I'm trying not to hurt my friends' pockets by not allowing this. So that's how these things work. So it's not a State Farm issue. It's not a farmer's. I mean, it is to a degree, but not necessarily in totality. But there is a person that has this stamp that says yes. He says no. He says yes, but you don't need to raise it 3%. You need to raise it by this so you can stay in the state of California, or you can stay in the state of Florida, or I'm not going to respond to this particular company. And so now they're leaving, So that's how it's all very, very political. So make sure that you're not just, looking at what Donald Trump is doing or what he's not doing. You got to look at the whole gambit. So you can only do so much, right? We live in the communities that we're in, so your local elections are very important. Don't just vote for somebody because they're a Democrat or Republican. Find out what they find out what they're really trying to get done. Don't go blind. It's just
What What's the best way, Brother William, to find out what your state insurance commissioner has been doing, or your state water board commissioner or whatever has been doing? What's the best way, since you're in insurance, to find that out? Without having
so you can
spent 40 years trying to
right.
research,
Yeah. You can go to California Department of Insurance or whatever your Department of Insurance is for your state. You can put Kentucky Department of Insurance and it'll bring up what the actual website is, and they have to list all of the things, right? So in hours, if you want to check my license, you can go on there and check my license to see if I'm in good standing or not. You can um, check and see what complaints have went to the Department of Insurance, or what companies have lawsuits outstanding, and for what reasons. You can find out what the Department of Insurance is when they're meeting. You can, all of these things, or how to get in touch with that particular Department of Insurance. So you have property, you have casualty, you have special lines, you have life, you have health, you have all of these different types of lines, and there's people in place, and their job is to manage the overall structure of what insurance companies are to do from a governmental standpoint. And you can find all of that information. It has to be shown on the Department of Insurance's website. And then there's a national one. I can't remember what I think it's called CIRCON. I can't remember what it is now, but I'll look it up in a little bit and I'll send it over to Cheryl. She can get it out to those who are interested, to find out what it looks like on a national level, what these lobbyists are saying and what they're wanting from the government, and how they make these things happen. All those things, there has to be transparent, because it's a highly regulated industry. It's like banking is.
So, like you said, well, we don't like Ricardo Lara, who's the current California
Hmm.
insurance commissioner. Is there any organization, either on a state that you may know of, and I realize I'm just asking you this as a result of our conversation, on
Hmm.
the state or the national level, that rates or reviews the insurance commissioners?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's a good question. I'll look into it.
Okay.
That's a
Thank
good question. Oh, hold on, let me write that down. I never even thought to ask that question.
you.
It's a
Okay.
good question, Tim.
Especially in an election year, I'm just wondering.
Oh,
And
yeah.
same thing with the, like the water board and all of that.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times you see these names on your ballot, and
Right.
it's really like you say don't vote just because they're a Democrat or Republican, but then if the person doesn't know anything about them and then they're registered in a particular party, they may just go ahead and,
Right.
check that name when that is not the best qualified person for that position.
Right.
You know, he
Yeah.
could be the cousin of the attorney general or something.
Right. Yeah. You can definitely find some stuff out, and I will find out. Uh, I will find out how to ask that. Well, one, how to structure that question, and then see if I can get an answer for it. It may take me a couple of days, but I will get it. That's a really good question. I really want to know. I really want to know myself now. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of good information you presented today.
Yes, ma'am. What other questions do we have?
Well, since it's African American or Black or Bilalian History Month, whatever title suits you. Um, Historically, among African Americans, some of our first millionaires have been people who have dealt in insurance, like A.G. Gaston, and then there was a sister too. I'm blanking on her name right now. Um, do you have any thoughts on that, or Brother William, or you want to give some historical perspective? I can remember in New York growing up, I think it was either Golden Life or Mutual Life, and it was this Caucasian middle-aged guy would come by, and I can remember my grandmother and my mother um, handing him an envelope because you put your little premium money in the envelope and
Right on.
guy, and he collected that envelope. And yes, I
Mhm.
am telling my age. But there were African Americans who historically made money in our communities with insurance empires that they established. Uh,
Absolutely.
do you have any comment on that, or you want to give any historical perspective on why that was a situation?
Well, I'm going to come from the opposite end of that, because yes, you can make a really good living in insurance. You really can if you're honest and trustworthy with your clients and you keep a good reputation. I do my best to make sure that happens, right, for myself, because I'm not going to work for State Farm for the rest of my life. I just won't, but I'm not going to get into a business I'm not an absolute expert on and I'm not ready for, right? So California needs some things to change for me to do that. Is I'm not going to go throw good money after bad just because I want to sit in an office that has my name on the outside of it, right? But did you know that there was a long, long time that a lot of these big companies would refuse to sell life insurance to people that look like us?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the office that we took over that I'm sitting in right now was from a gentleman named Dave Schiller. And Dave Schiller was the longest standing State Farm agent in the history of State Farm. There's an award that I keep on my desk to remind me of. This is an award that he won in 1961 for a national convention, and he had already been in business for 10 years. So, and he just retired. He was forced to retire 2 years ago. But he wrote the very first life insurance policy on a Black person in the state of California because
Wow.
State Farm specifically told him, do not sell to Negroes. There was the company policy. There's a reason when you look at some of these huge institutions where people have uh, given this wing to their church or to their school or whatnot, when they pass away, there a lot of times, well, a lot of times it's from a life insurance policy. They'll buy a $250,000 life insurance policy, and the beneficiary of it is their church, so that their name lives on long afterwards. There's a lot of our people have been really messed over, especially like in the 80s. I had one client, her mother had been paying on a life insurance policy since 1983. She had been paying on it since 1983. And when she passed away, that life insurance policy was only worth $2,000.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Right? So be very careful about what it is, because we're the first doesn't mean it's always a good thing. And making money, yes, that's a very, very, very good. I do, I am afforded a very comfortable lifestyle for myself and my family. I'm very happy about that. Uh, but I've always done fairly okay for myself, even when I was in finance for almost 20 years. We got to be very careful about that. It is our time. It is Black History Month. Savior's Day is coming up next week, and this Ramadan is going to be taking place at the same time Savior's Day starts. We're super excited about that. I will be in Detroit for our national convention. If any of you all are able to make it, we'd love to have you. It's going to be lots and lots and lots of fun, but we're definitely it's going to be a lot of praying, and a lot of reading. So we're going to have a good time. So, of course, we'd love for you to come and fellowship with us, and we're going to have iftar together with all of the other uh, members of our community. But I want us to make sure that we're paying very close attention to all of the I's and all of the T's and make sure that they are dotted and crossed. If you don't know what you're looking at, or if you're confused about what you're looking at, stop. Don't sign anything. Have somebody that you trust and that really does care about you to review it. Oh, there's this. You know, I can look through a policy that thick and take me about 2 minutes to do it, where it may take you some days. And I'll sit there and point out this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. This is right. Keep this, but get rid of this. This right here is where they're trying to make an extra commission. This right here, you'll never see this money. Blah blah. You know, I can sit there and just pick it apart because it's what I do all day, every day.
Right.
So
Right.
other than that, no, I don't. Not in insurance. Not any black historical facts. Other than we know how to go out and get us some money. And this will allow those who want to have a career that is not as stressful as others, but still can kind of make some money. And, you have these licenses that allow you to do lots of different things. Then absolutely, I'll be more than happy to share that with you, show you how to get it done. And then, hey, we can work together, find some ways to help our people.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Father Muhammad Sharif, go ahead.
Yes, I would, do for self. We got a brother, a man in the community. He's in California. His name is Sam Cobb, Cobb. He raised dates. We got Ramadan coming up. We know how much dates that we use. Go on your computer, put in Sam Cobb forms. That'll take you to a dates form. You'll find out all about Sam Cobb. And order your dates as soon as possible so you have them for Ramadan. An African American from our community, he doing what Elijah Muhammad said, do for self. He got a big family-owned company he operates out of California. Sam Cobb Dates. Tell you all about it, how you can purchase the dates.
Thank you for that reminder, Brother Muhammad Sharif. I said last Ramadan when I first found out about him that I was going to order for this year. And I thought about him about last week, and thank you for that reminder, because you order and then they ship them to you. So we got time to get them in, inshallah.
I have his
Thank
phone
you.
number. I have his phone number if you all want to write it down.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
It
Pass the
is,
word. Pass the word.
that's right. It is 760-861-1664. 760 area code 861-1664. I'm definitely going to. He's in Sky Valley, California. I don't know where that is, but I'm going to look it up right now.
Right.
Inshallah.
We matter of fact, on our newspaper, Muslim Journal, the latest issue of the Muslim Journal, we got a big article on Sam Cobb dates, right in the Muslim Journal.
All right.
Alhamdulillah.
In Riverside County.
Okay.
Riverside County.
Side.
Okay. Yeah, that's Southern Cal.
Southern California.
Southern California.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. And then I want to respond to Sister Amatullah. You had a question. There's two that I know anyway about where you can find information about the insurance commissioner and ratings on insurance commissioner or anybody else. And I'm just going to tell you insurance commissioner, but you can find out information on any elected public official. Just go to Ballotpedia.
Right.
Ballotpedia. Any state. Every state has them, right? And you can pop it in. So I'm going to pop it into the chat, and I'm going to specifically pop in there for insurance commissioner, but you can look up pretty much any position. And it'll give you a description of what that office is, and that's a state executive office in any state. And it'll give you like what the duties are of that position. And then it'll give you who holds the office, who has held the office, and they're nonpartisan, Ballotpedia, and it'll give you a good kind of report card on them. And then the other one is, and this one started a few years ago, is ourstreet.org, O-R-G. And their research And they've been doing this, and their last one release was in 2024, and it's on insurance regulation. And they do a report card. It's called the Insurance Regulation Report Card. And they're looking at insurance regulation across the nation. And they're looking at everything from cost to bills to everything. And the reason I know about them is because we've been looking at this from a business perspective in what is going to impact. I mean, I'm not just looking at this personally, but what is going to impact our industries for environmental and for transit and other areas. So this is always just a really good one for any of you who want to know how your business is going to be impacted or has been impacted, and to just keep track of it because they will be releasing the one for 2025 in the next few months. It's always a look back. So I'll put those in the chat. You want to grab them and maybe bookmark them so you can see what's going on next, or just subscribe and then you can get an alert when it's coming up. So I will put them there for you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A question.
So that was that. And then we have just about 5 minutes left before we get off of here, because it is Black History Month, and each week I want to make sure that we do something to honor that. I have a question for each of you, and Sister Amatullah, since Brother Fleming is not here, I'm going to ask Brother Muhammad, as you wrap up, give us a couple of your 2 or 3 salient tips for the audience, and then finish it with, I think we did this last week. I did ask for the favorite quote, so I'll ask you again this week.
Oh, no.
Yes. See, I'm giving you time because I'm going to ask him first. So,
Okay, so let me do a quick
University of Google.
quote.
You gonna look at UOG, University of
No.
Google. So Brother Muhammad, give us your top 2 to 3 salient tips that you want people to walk away with, and then also give us your this week's favorite Black History quote, or even if it's not your favorite, the one that sticks with you
I have
this
a
week.
great one.
Okay.
I have a
Do
really
that
good.
last. Give us
I'll
your
do it
salient
last.
tips first.
The salient tips. So one, again, thank you all so very much for having me. Again, I love to come on here and share and hear and learn from all of you. This is a really, really, really wonderful platform. So one, thank you. Tips for you is really stop and take an inventory of yourself, a complete inventory. Where am I at in my life? What have I attained physically? What do I have here? How am I protected properly? If you're not sure, if you're in California, I'm happy to talk to you. If you're anywhere, I'm happy to talk with you, and we can kind of work through a plan. Don't hide your head in the sand and think it's not going to happen to you. Make sure that you look up, because the last thing you want is to be caught lacking. And that what the young people say, you don't catch them lacking. Right. So those are my final words on that. So I hope that helps everyone. My favorite quote, it's my favorite quote. It says, "To my people, the so-called American Negro, freedom, justice, equality, peace, contentment of mind, money, luxury, good homes, friendships in all walks of life, All of these can be yours if you accept your God Allah now and return to His and your original religion, which is Islam. That is by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it is the dedication of the book called Message to the Black Man in America. That's my favorite quote.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. All right, madam, you're up. And actually, before she goes, if anybody else wants to weigh in, you got like 30 seconds to throw that hand up. Otherwise, we skip it. If you have a favorite quote, I'll let you weigh in while Sister Amatullah is pulling hers up.
Well, I will confess these aren't my favorite, but I found two. I'm going to make one for me and one for Fleming.
Okay. All right.
I'll
Because
say
yours will
one
be
for
short,
me.
yours will be shorter than his 30 seconds.
That's for sure. Okay. A quick search. I think this was from Bing or Copilot, a Copilot search. I have no idea. Anyway, this one is from Haruki Murakami, who is a Japanese novelist, short story writer, and translator. And this is the quote of the day for February 9th. Ice contains no future, just the past sealed away. Kind of a play on ice there. Ice contains no future, just the past sealed away. But now I'll go to one of my favorite people and a quote that is very apropos as we enter or look forward to the return of Ramadan. This is from El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, most widely known as Malcolm X. And it is, we need more light about each other. Light creates understanding. Understanding creates love. Love creates peace, or patience, I'm sorry. Love creates patience, and patience creates unity. From El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, more commonly known as Malcolm X. That's it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyone else wants to weigh in before we close out? I'm going to, because you picked Sir El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, I was going to pick one from him, but I'm going to change it just because I don't want two from the same person. So I'm going to pick this one because she's one of my favorite writers. I'm going to choose Dr. Maya Angelou. Courage is the most important of all virtues because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently.
I like that one.
Okay.
Good one.
Do we have any from our participants? Any hands up? I don't see any hands up.
Haja Tahira, talk to us. Tell us what's yours. Or Brother Muhammad Sharif. Or Sister Umrani, because I know that you hide behind calling user one. I know you got I know you got a good one. Give us one before we leave today. Brother Muhammad, I see you came off mute. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, I just cover all of our leaders. They all said, do for self. Do for self.
It's a good one. All right.
Alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. What you got?
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammad Abdul Rasulullah. There's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger.
Alhamdulillah.
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 Sounds good. Anyone else? I will say, Brother William, I really learned more than I expected to learn from your presentation today.
Thank you.
And I hope that those who joined us and those who will review the recording of this session, it'll have to be uploaded because I wasn't able to live stream it. But in the next day or two, it should be available. And I want to encourage those who participate on the Zoom and those who participate on the AM360 YouTube channel to subscribe and to like the sessions so that the algorithm will pick it up and we'll be able to spread this vital and important information to more people out there in the internet universe and in the YouTube sphere of influence. Because there was a lot of good information I feel was shared today. And thank you, Brother William Muhammad.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm going to close this out with this. The equality in political, industrial, and social life which modern man must have in order to live is not to be confounded with sameness. On the contrary, in our case, it is rather insistence upon the right of diversity, upon the right of a human being to be a man, even if he does not wear the same cut of vest, the same curl of hair, or the same color of skin. Human equality does not even entail, as it is sometimes said, absolute equality of opportunity. For certainly, the natural inequalities of inherent genius and varying gift make this a dubious phrase. But there is more and more clearly recognized minimum of opportunity and maximum of freedom to be, to move, and to think, which the modern world denies to no being, which it recognizes as a real man. W.E.B. Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folk. And I leave you with that in the words of my grandmother, who says, when you change what you see also changes. We ask you to join us next week here on MAP5 at 1 o'clock. We do on that coast where the sun rises. That's about the only time you're going to see the sun during the day at this time of year. In the middle of the country. Middle of the country. Where, it's the middle. And here on the West Coast, where it's sunny all day till the sun sets. And then we ask you to join us on the other programs here on AM360 as we prepare ourselves for Ramadan. Stay powerful, stay prayerful, stay purpose-driven, stay politically engaged, and participate civically. Do something for someone else without the expectation for anything in return. Don't look for spotlight, don't look for praise. Don't put it on Facebook or Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it today. Don't do it TikTok. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. And this last memory I'll give to you is the most important thing to remember is this: to be ready at any moment to give up what you are for what you might become. That is also W.E.B. Du Bois. Happy Black History Month. Happy American History Month. That involves Black people. And with that, we wish you a good Monday, a good week. Assalamu alaikum. That is
Assalamu
a wrap.
alaikum.
Salam.
That's a wrap.
Assalamu alaikum.
Correct.
All right.
Gracias. La
Salam.
paz. La paz.